everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Enlightened Mike podcast. I have with me not my regular host, but in fact a special guest, Hamsack is Hamsack, the Hamish the Hamsack from Push the Points. Hamish the Hamsack, that's what we're going with. Hamish the Hamsack from Push the Points. If you've been living under a Flesh and Blood rock, you probably haven't heard of him, but I think most people have. We met at Worlds briefly. You let me plug myself on your channel. A little YouTube short. Loved that. But Hamish, tell everybody about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
Thank you so much, bro. I'm Hamish. I live in the UK in a little town called Kettering, right? And you can tell because we don't pronounce our T's properly, okay? So most people will look at it as Kettering. I've been, a bit about myself. I work in adult social care, so I help people get out of hospital and put packages of care for people to get them home. So how do people get carers and everything? That's my day job. I've got 2 kids, 13-year-old and a 3-year-old. So, I know. I've just when I was about to get to the end of the race, I decided I'm going to start at the start line again right. in kidhood. I know, right. Good for. And I also run a gaming club as well in Northampton for the last 13 years, from doing like 40k, Age of Sigmar, Guild Ball, Netrunner, Conquest, not Living Realms. Legends of the Five Rings, Malifaux, Warhammer Champions, the card game. Bro, 13 years of just building a community. And we had before COVID, we had 45 regular people coming in, just doing a variety of different stuff. And that was our big passion project. And it's still going now after COVID. Yeah. Still going now.
That's amazing.
And so most of my time I'm, working, being a dad and running a club. That's my general day-to-day stuff. And then I Push the Point, which is the Flesh and Blood. It started as it was just a Flesh and Blood podcast. There was no interest in doing YouTube. And then now it's, a fab content creator. I slot that within all of those things as well. And that's my general day-to-day grind.
Yeah, and I mean that I was gonna stop you and say, where can people find you? But man, you're like a professional. You just segued right into that. So where can people find you? Like if they wanted to look you up on Twitter or something, if for some reason they watch our channel and not yours, where are they going to find you?
Bro, there people watch your channel, man. But if you've for whatever reason, if you've never heard of us and you've discovered us through this awesome channel. You can catch us on YouTube and Push the Point. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast, or just pretty much all the general podcast stuff that you can get out there. You can just type in Push the Point, you'll find us on there. We're on Twitter, Push the Point 1, because for some reason Push the Point was taken, so we've had to use the number 1 in it.
Have you ever found the Push the Point Twitter that without the 1? Like what kind of content? Like what kind of tweets are they firing off?
I'm not sure, and to be honest, I'm gonna go and find that out. Because I don't think, for some reason, when it was taken, I was like, "What?" And we just went with 1, and I was like, "Oh, whatever." And I tell you what, I've never discovered that. It's probably some sort of, I don't know, just anti-Flesh and Blood channel.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's a full-on Magic the Gathering one. Who knows?
Right now, I'm imagining that it's like a Mothers Against Dungeons and Dragons from the 90s or something.
Oh, that would be.
Oh, these kids are playing Flesh and Blood nowadays, and it's pretty much Satan worship, I think.
God, that would actually be amazing if that was the case. Yeah,
that was a big part of my childhood, is Satanic Panic. So
Oh God. And you can find me as well on Hamsack _PTP, which is Hamsack _ Push the Point. But if you that's pretty much where you can find all of our stuff.
Go check those out if you haven't already. Entertaining content. We were just talking about this before we rolled the cameras. It's like listening to 3 friends just talk shit about Fab, and I'm here for it and I love it, and it's very entertaining. I asked Hamish to come on to chat about Flesh and Blood, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the factors outside of Flesh and Blood, right? So, like and I want to dive into some of these. You, most people, unless you're Michael Hamilton or like Brody Spurlock or people who are like cashing events every time they show up, most people, aren't just professional Flesh and Blood players, and they have other things going on outside. So, I'd love to hear more about that. So yeah, let's dive in. You talked about a little bit about this already, right? But you're from, I guess, what Americans would pronounce it as Kettering, or
oh, they wouldn't even know that. They wouldn't even know that place even existed. Let's just say I live in the middle of the UK.
Yeah, right on. So you're from Kettering. You got 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old myself, so I understand. You're a mad lad, I believe they say over there.
You are a mad lad or a parent.
Yeah. How did you get into Flesh and Blood? Did you did you played other card games, other tabletop games? But what led you to Flesh and Blood as it is today?
Yeah. So when I discovered Flesh and Blood, like I normally do find most of my games, I was listening to Team Covenant, a really solid channel that promotes lots of different sort of out there, like not the most popular games. I don't know if that's probably the right way to say it, but it's not the usual 40K or Games Workshop with Magic or Pokemon, all that sort of stuff. They were predominantly the channel that just did the other games, right?
Yeah.
So I've been following them for a little while, and then February 2020, just before the pandemic, they shown off this game called Skytear, right? And I was like, "Oh, Skytear! You probably never heard of this game, right? It's like a MOBA style deck builder, right? So you got hexes on a board, and you play through like it's kind of like a League of Legends sort of S style thing with a deck builder." And I thought, "Oh my god, this game's awesome! I need to look into it." The following week, they show off Flesh and Blood, and I just came off of a Warhammer Champions TCG game.
Yeah,
the game looked pretty cool. I mean, I thought Flesh and Blood looked cool, right? But it's a TCG, bro. It's a new one.
Yeah,
like I'm never touching a TCG after this game just died on me.
Yeah,
I was like, it looks all right, but I'm not really going to be playing it. I'll pick up Skytear. So off I go. And then COVID kicks in, and then I have a child. So literally everything to do with gaming just sort of like that 6-month period to me was just a vacuum. It was gone. There's no club. There's no, there's the kid and COVID at the same time. She was born on April the 5th. So
like literally right after lockdown then.
It's just there's nothing going on, right? So I call it the void, right? So there's nothing. You're coming out of the end of like near the start of the year. Everyone's a bit different, but the UK was coming through the lockdown was ending basically. So we were able to have a little bit more social freedoms. A good friend of mine, one of my best mates, Mikey, and another friend who I've known for a long time called Adam, came. They're like this sort of dudes I've known in the club for a little while, and they said, "Hey, do you want to look into this Flesh and Blood game?" And I said, "I remember that game, bro. You can't buy it anywhere, right? You can't even buy this in the UK. There's only a seller in Germany, right? So what's the point buying into a game that no one can buy, know?" And they were like, "No, we can get some stuff in." And I was like, okay, you can get some stuff in, which at the time was Arcane Rising, which at the time was first edition Arcane Rising, but it wasn't first edition. It was just Arcane Rising and Crucible of War, which are both first edition. They weren't the first edition crazy stuff, right? It was just the set. And then what sold it was my brother. He's like one of my close friends in terms of the gaming world. Me and him have been on 40K since we were like young teenagers. And he said, "I've looked at Flesh and Blood. It looks really good." And I was like, "Well, you're on it and Mikey's on it. I'm game. I'm going to play. If you guys are up for it, then I'm up for it." And that's how that sort of thing works. You two good friends are going to play. you're just immediately just more keen to have a look, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got some Arcane Rising, we got some Crucible of War, brought that in, and then my local store, funny enough, was one of the very first to pick this game up, and some guy, I think some mad lad, brought, I don't know, like 3-4 cases of Welcome to Rathe Alpha, but it was just Welcome to Rathe at the time from New Zealand, and sold it to the shop.
Yeah,
bro. Like at the time, it was like, all right, and now it's like, oh, okay, crazy, right? And then he also managed to get some Arcane Rising in. So we were just playing some sealed at this place, a COVID sealed, so it was really lame, right? So we had our pods, we could only play in our pods, and all got masks, and it was just it was the weirdest experience. But that was the only way to get like product at the time, so we were like, we'll do anything. And then my first sealed, I pulled a Command and Conquer first edition, so I'm like, oh cool, Command and Conquer, I heard that's pretty good. And then the second game was sealed, I pulled another one. And then that was it, really. That was my long-winded way of how that little story and how it came about. And it just kind of, that was it, really. Just took off from there and just carried on playing. And this game's sick.
Yeah. They're like, I find that like with this game, a lot of the stories that I hear are like more like I don't know if grassroots is the right word, but like for Magic, for example, or like I don't know how it went with like Warhammer Champions or whatever. But for Magic, which is kind of the most comparable like big card game, they have starter decks and like learn to play events and stuff like that. But like most of the people that continue on with the game that you meet at like tournaments and stuff, I feel are like, oh, like, my brother got me into it and I've had this big collection for a long time. And like, I love that in Flesh and Blood, like there's a lot of like, oh, I went to like a sealed event and got hooked, or like I picked up some Blitz decks and it just like spiraled from there. So it's really cool to hear that other story of like, oh, we just tried out the game and like we loved it, and like well,
it's a new game, isn't it? Because that's the difference between the 40Ks and the Magics and the Pokemons and the Yu-Gi-Ohs, right? Is that they're all born and based from the 90s, which at the time, this is what everyone else just went like. It's like a completely different thing in an era, right? Dungeons and Dragons, people just Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, kids Pokemon. Yeah, all right. We all know Pokemon because we're kids, right? And it's just we were at right time, right place. And now, and the same with 40K, it was just this little dungeon goblin underground thing. Right? That some of these, whatever, right? That's what you do. And now we're not in that. We're in a tabletop gaming space where these companies have carried on pushing on through, and it's built up and built up and built up to these big giants that they are now. So when the new people come in to look at Magic the Gathering, they're coming into a very established, it's been around for ages. And so, it doesn't surprise me that they go, oh, my brother's had a huge ass collection when he was like 2 or something, and that's when, and that's normal. But for Flesh and Blood and most of the new games that come out now, it is you've got to kind of, and this is what makes it incredibly difficult to break through, is you gotta be interested on the get-go, because if it doesn't work out, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Warhammer, whatever, and I say Warhammer because it's not going to obviously capture the net for card game players, but it's the same sort of thing that model game players have to go through. That here's a new model game, and they go, okay, we'll play it for a bit. Oh, it's pretty boring. I want to go back and play 40K, right? Because it's the safety net of doing something.
That's very
Magic the Gathering is the safety net of doing something. What you're going to do if all else fails? Well, I guess I can just play Magic, right?
Yeah.
Or I can just because there's a scene, it's just there. It's always going to be there. So how do you keep people to continue to play and to, do you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of a big sort of selling point on how Flesh and Blood has managed to do particularly well. And you will hear these people say, yeah, it's dying in my scene, right? And it's like, yeah, completely, absolutely. Every game has a shelf life, no matter what you play. We're not playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive still, are we? You know, it's a great game. It's one of the best games ever played. You're done. You're done playing it. And that's what a lot of people do. The game's not becoming stagnant or anything. It's just.
Well, do you think
everyone's got a personal shelf life?
Do you think that Flesh and Blood as a game has, how am I trying to ask this? Do you think it has like a visible shelf life? Like you look at Magic, right? Like I don't want to talk too much about Magic, right? Because
I think it's important. I think it's very important too.
Right? Yeah. Like Magic, I don't think like you look at Magic and it's still wildly popular. It's still growing, especially with like, the Commander and people that have older collections and stuff. Like, do you think Flesh and Blood is going to reach that stage where it doesn't have, or is it already like, right? Like, does it have a future, that will be able to rival Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever?
It's, I guess really the question is that, do you think it can last 30 years? Mm-hmm. Magic is 30 years old. I think it's, to compare it to Magic as it is now, it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not the right question to sort of, people need to sort of ask, because it's like going, there's this new tabletop game coming out. Do you think you'll knock over Warhammer? Yeah. Probably not, right? Yeah. Let's be real. Probably not, because it's Warhammer and nobody in the world does not know what that is.
Yeah.
It's like saying, will Magic ever topple Pokemon? No, it's Pokemon. It's a juggernaut, but the thing is, I guess the question is, will it stay? Right? Will it stay?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't. Why not? Right? Why? Like, I don't see why it shouldn't if it's continuing to do what it's doing now. Right? As long as it's just continuing to do what it's doing now. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's past the hump, in my opinion, of the worst part of all games that ever come out.
Yeah.
It's been, in their world, 4 years. But in our world, we're getting onto that 2-year mark. So you're seeing the life cycle of everyone's tolerance to new games starting to become to that point, right? And it was even starting to become the end of last year for some people. And we're still kind of here. And I think right now they're on the trajectory of just doing quite well. I suppose really it's a matter of time. Yeah. I don't see why it shouldn't, if it continues to do what it does. But like all things, unfortunately, it takes a good imagine James White doesn't do it anymore. Imagine he's not the guy running it anymore. How much do people, do you know what I mean? It's like the Metal Gear Solid problem. It's not, Metal Gear Solid 5, right?
I don't know.
Hideo Kojima.
The director of the game, right?
He's left.
Yeah.
Does anyone care about this game now? Because he's not in it. The guy who made this, as amazing as it is, isn't doing it anymore, right? Who knows, right? But whereas Magic doesn't have that thing anymore, do they? It's just beyond who's running the show. I don't even know who's running the goddamn show. It's just the thing. It's just a corporate.
It's
mega machine.
Questionable with all the money grabs they've made in the last 5 years, but
bro, all those money, and that's how strong. That's the point, right? Magic can do some dumbass stuff, right? But is it going to go? No one's questioning its ability that it's going to go, even though they can self-sabotage as much as they like.
Mm-hmm.
We'll all buy it, and it's like, okay, fair enough. But Flesh and Blood currently doesn't have that, right? It's not. It can't. If it self-sabotages it, that's the difference of where it is right now.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter though, right? Because it's not. We're in a trajectory of going forward. It's going fine. I think it just needs to look at itself as this, which I think, to be honest, it is. It's looking at itself as we're not comparing to Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff.
Well, it's important for context, right? Because like I've
there could be another new game.
Yeah.
There could be another new TCG game that could come out, right? And then that one could be the fourth best game.
Sure.
Flesh and Blood's probably still doing quite fine.
Yeah.
We're still rolling along, doing really reasonably well. Still got some great product. Got some amazing cards coming out and an amazing organized play program coming out. And then, I don't know, Shitface 5 is now here and it's got some amazing new cards and it's just got some groundbreaking God knows what. And everyone wants to go and play and buy that, right? And then some magazine will say it's the fourth best card game ever. It's Shitface 5 is number 4 and Flesh and Blood is number 5. And then we'll go, oh, Flesh and Blood's dead. No, Flesh and Blood shouldn't care about that. It should just continue to just go, we're on year 5. We just need to continue to just build on ourselves and look at where can we be in year 10? What do we want to be in year 10?
100%.
And if they continue to just to do that and hear out what's going on, but don't compare. Yeah.
Well, and
you've got a long game coming.
That's a really good point because I think Flesh and Blood has made like such a good foundation for itself. Like not only in the rules and like the gameplay and stuff, which is obviously fantastic. And that's actually what drew me in is like the first time I played a game, I was like, this is maybe like my favorite card game I've ever played. And like going forward, like along with that, there's that vision that like James White has of like I really just want people to play excellent games of Flesh and Blood. And like that's what he says all the time, right? And as long as they have that vision going forward and as long as they have, you know, the right principles behind them, I think you're right. I think and they focus on that, like, what are we doing going forward? I think that's really important. And so you mentioned I'm sorry. I am actually I've recently gotten into Warhammer, so I got to know what your army is too. This is completely bad segue.
Okay, well,
you mentioned it like 3 times. I'm like, what does he play?
I know. So I mention it a lot, but I don't play Warhammer 40K. I play Warhammer just Sigma.
Oh, I paint models from that too. What's your army?
So I play the Maggot King, Blight Kings.
Oh, yeah.
So the Nurgle army. To be more specific,
with the big
mortal
fat disease guy. The great unclean one.
I don't. The great unclean one. Here we go. Flex my nerd. Okay, so the Nurgles, there's the demon Nurgles, and then there's the mortal side of things, and it's the same on all sides. Even in 40K, there's the mortal sides, and then there's demons. And the demons, clever marketing, just put the same demons in 40K and Age of Sigmar. 1 model, 2 games. Good marketing. Yeah, that's right. Good. So I don't do the demon side of the Nurgles too much. I like the human version of them where they're just like absolutely huge, like massive dudes that are just fat and grotesque and things are falling off their face, but they're tough as all hell. So it looks just like me.
They're like
in the morning.
They're kind of like in 40K. I have like a Death Guard collection, which is like
they're Death Guard. They're Death Guard with no armor, right? And then give them big wooden shields and stuff. And there's something about that they kind of just looking like Terminator, like but in big. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I play them.
Yeah, they're so fun to paint too. Just the I love painting all the like gross like flesh and like all that. Like it's so awesome. Okay.
I'm not a very good painter, but the thing about when you're painting disgusting flesh stuff is that when you can kind of like piss about with paints a little bit. And just go, well, what happens if I just like smudge in these like, you know, purpley reddy colors into somewhere? And if it doesn't quite work and you just put a little wash over it, sod it. It's a big old bruise and who cares, right?
You're supposed to look
that's
gross,
the thing about disgusting. Yeah, if it looks gross, that's the point.
Awesome. So transitioning away from Warhammer, I could talk about Warhammer for a long time. I've like recently just gotten into it, and I'm
you've now entered into my little vacuum world where you have topics, and I just seem to just somehow just smash them out of the way because I like to talk about other shit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's I'm okay with that. I'm the same way.
Oh, good.
So, what do you get out of Flesh and Blood when you're playing? Like, what are you not necessarily trying to accomplish, but like, what keeps you coming back? Why do you play the game? Like, what do you love about it?
That's a really good question. And I think that makes a great question for me is because a lot of people might not know this, but I actually don't get a chance to play this game physically, really at all. Even though you say like, I run this podcast, I run a club, and actually running the podcast and running the club, it makes it very difficult because unfortunately my club doesn't really have a Flesh and Blood scene at all. Everyone that used to come to my club now goes over to the local gaming store, which is just across, not too far from us. Amazing store called Manascrew, and we fully support them. But the Manascrew is a card gaming store, and they all go off and want to play there. So then that scene is growing really well. But I just, because I've got work and 2 kids, and then and unfortunately my club is not even in the same town as mine. Ridiculous, right? Doing a club for 13 years and it's a 30-minute drive from your house. Why not make a club in your own hometown? Don't do that, anyone. I implore you, if you're going to start a club, do it in your hometown. It's ridiculous. Yeah, not when you're 20 and anyway, right. So I don't really get a chance to play. The last time I played in real life was it was at Worlds, and then I went to the Pro Quest. I went to like 2 events there. And then I got a game in, like one of the dudes came down to the club and we managed to get a game in. So like, really on a handful of occasions, that's it.
Yeah.
And and I sometimes sit to myself like, why do I continue to, I really don't get a chance to play this. Everyone I know is going to their armories every week. I haven't been to an armory in a year because I just can't physically go to it. I'd say that Talishar and Talishar has been a massive saving grace for me.
Same here, yeah.
Not that I think I probably would still continue to support and do what I do with this game without it. But like Talishar is like a massive boon to just sort of scratch that itch to go, okay, I want to, I keep myself limbered up and knowing what I want to do, right? So I think Talishar is amazing for that. But actually, why I continue to keep playing this game is because I really, really, really enjoy figuring out like puzzles in heroes and decks and stuff. So we've got the latest set of Outsiders that came out, and immediately my brain goes, I want to play Arachne. Like, that's not even in the set, right? Yeah. But it kind of is and kind of isn't. But I'm like, I really like the look of Arachne. His mask was really cool, and I loved his get up and the spider bites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to fit, and I just love figuring stuff out, and just playing and seeing if I can push something that I'm interested in to its limit. That like, even though that hero might not be good, right? In meta terms, Arachne is probably not a pick that you should take. Like, if you're going to go to a Pro Tour or Worlds or anything like that. But I really like this hero. It's the rule of cool. I just like the look of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about
how do I get this to be really strong?
Yeah, and there's something to be said about like just like optimizing it, right? And like figuring out that puzzle. I was there at this last ProQuest season, and he was actually a decent pick, but I was there with Reinar for a while where I'm like looking past,
good choice,
trying to look into like what makes the hero, like what makes him powerful, like how do you mitigate his weaknesses, how do you mitigate his risk, that kind of thing. And like that was a really fun puzzle to figure out. And I'm a little burnt on it now, but
it's hard. It's hard, isn't it? It's sometimes you actually look at a hero and you just know, don't you? You just know, like you look at all the cards in the pool available and you can just straight away go, it's just really, this shouldn't be, like, this isn't exactly the hottest pick in this meta right now. You just know that Oldhim and Icelander are just like, they're just never going to go anywhere. And do you know what, with Reinhardt, I look at them and go, you know what, that's actually a pretty good, they've got some pretty good choices into that. And then you go, I'm Fi. Oh no. Like before Outsiders, you're like, oh, not Fi. I can't do. Or Viscerai, oh, Briar, oh. And you go, I don't actually do, what does Reinhardt do against this?
Yeah, it's tough.
You know what I mean? You're like, you just got to go, well, this matchup's just not crazy good. So how do I? Yeah, and I know what you mean. You sort of look at it and go, well, what can I sort of do to leverage my strengths?
Yeah, well, exactly. And can you give up percentage points in another matchup to like make your bad matchups a little bit better? And like, there's like all sorts of like, I don't know. I love the little like tweaking and tuning. Like, I'm not a great deck builder, I'll be honest, but I do love.
Well, I'm doing that with Bolton.
Yeah,
I'm doing that with Bolton. I'll tell you what, I'm obsessed. It's kind of this ridiculousness because I've been. I mean, it sounds real like I'm tooting my horn. I don't mean
this
to.
This is your time to toot your horn.
Like there was a time that I did particularly well with Viscerai, and I did a deck tech for it, and a few Viscerai old schoolers were saying, "Oh, bro, cool deck," and had a small name as the Viscerai guy for a while, right? And then I get asked quite, whenever I go to a tournament, that when I went to Utrecht, I had some dude who was in the top 8 with Viscerai going, and I was just outside having a vape, and he came up to me and was like, "Loved you. Yeah, some of your stuff was what made me want to play." I was like, "Oh shit, man! I didn't realize I actually influenced people to do this." So I still occasionally get some people to come up to me and go, "What do you reckon about Viscerai in this meta?"
Yeah. And
I feel a little bit like, I can tell you all about Bolton. I don't know why. Like, Bolton. Yeah. Like, I know it's not a. Should you take Bolton to? No, you should not take Bolton to the thing. But I just can't. I can't help it. It's like it's crack cocaine for me at this point. All for one card, which is the Spirits of Arena. Right. I don't know why I'm obsessed with the fact that nobody knows what's going on, and I think that's the thing I love most about taking these unknown heroes. That's probably why I wanted to take Arachne, is because I swear everyone goes, I don't know what he's doing. And I'm like, yes. Completely have no idea. But like
sneaking in.
And still trying to beat people who know how to interact with it. And then it does get to the point where they go, oh, I can completely work this out. And you go, yeah, no, you can defeat him now because you know how to actually play against it properly. Well, but no, I've been obsessed with Bolton lately.
I also love Bolton. I don't know. I'm trying to separate for myself like not an unhealthy desire to win, but like there are times where I'm like I try to do like the winniest thing and not just the thing that I enjoy the most, and I pay for it. But
I've done that too. I took Starvo to a Pro Quest, and and I didn't even take the random slot machine Starvo version where they were trying to run it. I took the Kale McCreef like second cycle control Starvo, and he showed me this bloody deck 4 times. I chatted to him. He showed me how to play it. We had like 4 games, and he's obviously really good at it. And he has this effect that makes you think that no, he is good, right? And then he goes, "Oh, bro, it's piss easy. Just do this, do this, do this." And then you're like, "Oh yeah, it looks piss easy. Yeah, this is sure. You should definitely take this." Go to the Pro Quest and be like, "What the fuck am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing at all with this thing. This is insane. I should have just took Viscerai, who I just know off the back of my head. I knew what I'm doing, and." Even if I lose, I know why I lost. I lost because of this and X, because I just know this hero inside out. So I implore anyone, if you're going to go to any event, take something you bloody know. Don't take something that someone said is good. Yeah. Right? 100%. There's no point taking something that's good that you have no idea what to do. Right? You might as well take something that you know inside and out what you like about it. Make that work as best as you can. And whether you win or lose, you know what you've done wrong.
Yeah.
And then you just get better at doing it. And then you actually become a better player because you're so comfortable wearing the suit. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. That's like, I agree. I think that there in Flesh and Blood, there's like not so many, like, there's not enough like bad matchups that make like your time put into a hero irrelevant. So like a lot of people will be like, oh, that matchup is unwinnable, or oh, this matchup is such a landslide. But usually like the most it gets is like 60-40. And there's exceptions, right? Like Prism and Oldham or something. But
well, no, it's more like Prism and Wizard class, right?
Sure,
Prism and Wizard class, you are literally going, you know, there is actually no coming back from this. But even then, you've got that window that you've got that window. Go and take it. See what happens.
Finding the window is where the skill and practice and dedication comes in. So yeah,
exactly. And if you get that, and most of the time when you go to events, I say this to a lot of people, right? But I think there's like 5 things you can do. Well, how do you win? How do you generally win an event? There's like 5 things to do, right? The first 2 things you do is before you go to the event, right? Mm-hmm. It's practice and finding something you're comfortable with, right? So you practice and reps. Okay. Now, when you get to the event, the next things are your matchups, your plays, and luck, right? So the matchups, was the matchup all right? Yeah, the matchup was all right. Cool. Your plays, it always takes that mad on the fly. You know what you do, like because the first 2 things you did, so you've already know who you want to play. You've already took the time to practice those things. So when you get into the game, you could find some really, really cool plays. Yeah. So, for example, Bolton against Icelander. That's a loss, right? For Bolton, that's a loss. But I won because I did a play. I did a mad play where I just came in with a bolt of courage blue, coming in for 1. And if it hits, because I charged, if it hits, I draw a card. And he's like, no blocks. Cool. Luminous Ascension as an instant. Because I've got
and it gives you the action point that does go again off of
so then he went into panic mode. He went, oh, okay, I'm gonna try and kill you. But I had like 1 yellow in my hand and I knew I wouldn't die, and I've also got the spell throw thing. So long story short, he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try blah 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 blah. I'm gonna try and kill you. But he didn't kill me. And then he went, okay, well, I took the card out of your hand. I was like, yeah, sure. Bottle coach is still coming in for 1. Oh, no blocks. Cool. I hit. I draw a card. Cool. Oh, Christ. Now I can pitch that card to swing Raiden for 4. Here we go. He's got 1 card in his hand. Lots of that 1 card. And it was a play, right?
Yeah.
I should lose, right? But it was the play. The matchup, bad. But the first 2 things I did, I learned my hero. I did a load of practice. The next thing was a matchup. Pretty bad, right? But I made the plays. So that was good. And I got some luck.
And you play to your outs, right? Sure, that's lucky, but like it starts with like knowing that that's a possibility and like playing to like, well, I'm probably dead, but let's see what happens. So,
and I think and I generally think that's how do you do relatively well at an event? And it is those 5 things. There's those 2 bits you did before: matchups, plays, luck. And luck is, you need luck, and there's no way of getting around it. Everything else, if you could do all 4 of those things, but if you could just draw dog shit hands. You could just be the most unluckiest person in the world. It doesn't matter. You need to have all 5 of these things working relatively well, right? And that's why I think when a lot of people just show up with the best, like the top, they show up with an Azalea deck. Let's just say it's this man. They're going to show up with an Azalea deck with no reps. So these are the 3 things here. You're never going to know your plays. You're never going to know how to deal with your matchups. And you don't even know how to really harness your luck because you didn't even bother working on doing the work of doing the homework of the hero, right? Because you were never that interested in the first place. And that's where those first 2 things went completely wrong.
Well,
so they don't win an event.
That I really like. That's luck is where preparation and opportunity cross paths. And it's like, if you're prepared to take advantage of you just said like harness your luck, right? If you're prepared to to harness the lucky opportunity you were given, then like you're gonna see your win percentage go up, right? Because you
exactly,
and it goes up.
And sometimes you can just be a Viscerai player that can just draw Meridian Skies, a blue, and an attack, and maybe Mordred Tide or Revel every single turn. How lucky were you?
Yeah. Oh man.
You know what I mean?
Revel
you can't lose.
Is a nasty card. I love that card.
Yeah. Exactly. There's loads of stuff, but you know all the other stuff. And same with Bravo, Crippling Crush Dominate into Spinal Crush Dominate into Crippling Crush Dominate. All right, bro, guess I can't win. Yeah. How lucky are you? And then you just get those games.
Yeah.
So that's luck.
Yeah. So you're a great guest because you've covered a lot of the topics that I want to cover. So that's great. So how do you one more thing about like Flesh and Blood proper, how do you, and I tried to ask this earlier, I'll probably edit it out, but like we'll revisit this.
Right.
Like, how do you but playing, not only like your hobbies outside of Flesh and Blood, but like playing Flesh and Blood, practicing whatever, how do you find yourself balancing your mental health, your family life, personal life, all that stuff, and like how does it affect your gameplay and your just your overall approach to the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you know the answer?
No, if I did, I'd be a lot better at this game. That's for sure.
No, I mean, I think something. At the end of the day, something has to take, right? And what's the most important thing, really? Is it your time with your family or a game, right? And I think you just sort of ebb and flow into different sort of like into those two worlds that you're in. So the most important one is obviously primarily your work and your family, right? You don't have that. You don't even have a goddamn game. So what's the point, right? So
totally,
those two things those have to obviously clearly the first thing. And you just got to pick your times, pick your moments. There's no point being a pro player in February, right? Or trying to be the pro player of March. You just got to know when it matters, right? If you've got something that you're really keen to do, it's like any sort of interest. It's just fun, right?
Yeah.
Like getting better for a particular event is quite fun. And if you're going to be playing something that you naturally enjoy playing anyway, then it's not going to be like some hard work to try and win. I don't know if I'm answering your question properly, but how to balance it all is just how to balance it all is basically just don't take the piss out of what goes on with your family life, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, you go out and it's a hobby. Going out to these tournaments and playing these games is just it's that fun thing, hobby thing you want to do. Some people want to go out and go and drink, right? Some people want to go and go camping. Some people want to do this. Some people want to do that. And this is just a thing. What do you want to do? I want to go. I want to play some card games. So I want to go to a tournament, right? That's my fun thing I want to do. But at the end of the day, we've all got families and stuff that we need to go and support. So we just go and do that. I suppose I look at tournaments not as a thing I want to try and win. I look at it as a sort of a day out with mates, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
And when I'm going at, and I tend to actually just get a record that I'm happy with when I'm kind of just having fun.
Yeah.
I'm not out for a result. I'm out for fun. So I kind of just have to look, I don't want to pitch myself into an event where I'm stressing to get a result. Although there's only one series of events where I actually do stress out to get a result, and that's Road to Nationals. Because of my lack of ability to get to play many armories, for someone that's been playing for as long as I do and has the amount of like reps and knowledge that I do, I'm like placed, I don't know, like page 4. I'm like, I've got like with 95 XP in the country. Yeah, there's no fathomable way I'm actually ever going to play the Nationals. And playing in the Nationals to me is, I think, it's it's the second most important thing.
Yeah.
In fact, in terms of playing an event, it's more important than playing Worlds to me because it's a nationals.
Yeah.
And it's a coming together of all of my friends who play Flesh and Blood, and we're all going to just battle it out against each other to become who is the best player in the UK.
Yeah.
That to me,
that's really special.
Really, that to me is more exciting than going, it's Worlds. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to make a Worlds, whatever. But Worlds is like a festival where I'm just going to go anyway, right? Did I manage to play Worlds? No, I didn't. Well, who cares, right? I'm just going to go and just see the worldwide community and have a laugh.
Yeah.
But for nationals, I suppose really I want to be in the scene. I want to be in the pit with everyone. I don't care where I come in the nationals, but I want to be in it.
Yeah.
So the Road to Nationals event is the only event where I go, I'm gonna probably not play Bolton. I probably shouldn't play Bolton.
Spike a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to probably turn around and bring something that's actually better into the field, and try and get a top 4. And if I can just get to the top 4, and now it's the same. What's happened last year? I went to Road to Nationals. I won it. I didn't expect to win it. I just wanted to get top 4. My Swiss rounds was 3-2, and maybe into the top 8. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell, right. And then it was like, this is the game. This is the most important game. And I beat this lovely, absolutely amazing gentleman called Tom Howell. And by the luck of Sonata, the luck of Sonata that turned around and went, here's a Gloom Veil, bro. And there's your Gloom Veil, and there's your Rosetta, and there's the win. And I actually just hugged him, and he was like, you're right. And I was like, I don't think you understand how I was done. I was like, I've won the tournament. And it's like, no, you still got the semi-finals. I just won the tournament. Like that, that to me is the only event where I'm like, oh God, every other event, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to go hang out with friends and try and do well. So
absolutely.
There you go. I don't know if that answers your question. You're talking about mental health and everything. It
does. I mean, like it's that's the mindset too, right? That's what I was alluding to, right? Is like some people go in and they go in to win, right? They go in and I'm going to play the best deck, and I'm going to try to win the matchup lottery, and then if they go 0-2 or whatever, like their day's ruined. But like I view it the same way as you, right? Where it's I don't like. I also this came with
go into the event. I'm probably going to 0-2, right?
Yeah,
I'm probably going to 0-2.
But it's a day out with mates, like you said, right? Like that's the way I view it nowadays. And like it's just I'm a little older, and like the world championship dream from like I'm not going to play Magic, see the world or whatever. Like that's not where I'm at anymore. But so like I go out, it's a day out with the boys, and like if we win, we win, and like
yeah. And if you do win, cool, man, that was sick. You just how lucky were you?
Yeah,
you're lucky with your matchups. You made some great plays, and you got some sick draws, bro. Let's go and have some food afterwards. I love an amazing time. Or did you suck, bro? You suck. Let's get some food.
Well, and I love the Hamish's 5 things. That might be a title for the episode, actually. So that'd be great. Hamish's How to Win a Tournament by Hamish.
5 easy steps.
Yeah, exactly. For $9.99 a month. Oh, and my daughter just got home. So, hey, bud.
Hello. Hi. There you go. What's your name?
What's your name, Juniper? I know she can't hear you, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, my daughter does this too.
Yeah. Well, if they weren't so dang cute. But yeah, so perfect timing for us to wrap up. We're about at our I don't know, some amount of minutes mark, under an hour, but
you're cool, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much again for coming on, Hamish, and
thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I could
really appreciate it.
I could talk to you for a long time. You're very fun to talk to.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we get to see each other at an in-person event at some point, and
see you at Worlds.
Who knows where it is? Maybe
it's in Europe.
In the US. Oh, it's in Europe. Yeah, maybe we can talk my wife into making a family trip.
But I don't. You got one event.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
One event.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Tim, as always. This has been Hamish, the ham sack, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Whatever. I'm your guest.
Okay.
You tell me what you want to do. I'll like rubber glue or blue tack. I'll fit into any gap you want me to, bro.
Okay, sounds good. That's spicy. Okay.